Hey everybody, I'm Belinda Wasser. Welcome to our webinar today, is being a virtual assistant for you. Let's just change this. Brought to you by the Virtual Assistant Connection. So I love this topic so much because I think that a lot of people are thinking about being a VA and they're wondering if it's for them, and it's such an interesting time because so much of what we do now is virtual that hasn't been virtual, before. So I think employers are thinking about things differently. I think we're going to see a big shift or a faster shift to a virtual world when it comes to a lot of jobs and a lot of support. And I have to say, it's really, from my point of view, never been a better time to be a VA because a lot of the myths about working from home have gone away. So I've been a VA for 10 years. I'm going to tell you my story in a minute, but welcome to this topic. One of the things that I want you to know is that I'm going to show you some questions that I've come up with. I'd love you to add your comments and questions in the comments as we're broadcasting. I'm going to answer them for you today live, and really, don't be afraid to really dig deep in those questions and get them answered today. Okay, so here we go. All right, so let me tell you my story. So this is me 10 years ago. This is my daughter, Emily. She's 19 now. In fact, she's going away to college in a couple of days. And when I first started my business, it was 10 years ago. And I was the primary caregiver and support for Emily. And I needed to either get a job or make being a virtual assistant work. And I really was committed to being able to stay home with her. And even though, it's funny, I was telling someone this story today, even though she would come home from school and she was old enough that she understood that I was working, and she would pop her head in the door and I would usually hold up my phone. And that was our signal. And the signal was, you can text me, but you can't talk to me. And that's because I was not on camera back then, but I was on the phone talking to a client, and I had to use what I would call with her my whole brain, because they're actually giving me information that I needed to know in order to do my work. So she would text me, and then when there was a break in the conversation, I could glance down and I could text her back. And so even though I still needed to work, we saw each other, and I could, in between calls, step out and I could make sure she was okay. And if she was sick at school, I could go get her, where, that's not always possible when you have a job. So there was lots of benefits to being able to work from home. So basically what I did was I got clear on my services. I started telling everybody I knew about my business. I started publishing a newsletter. I got clear on my prices, and my business really took off. And by the second year, I was making a six-figure income, and it was, thank goodness, because when I started this, I know some of you know more of my story, and that is that when I started this business, I was separating from Emily's father. We needed to sell the house. We hadn't paid the mortgage in well over a year. There was all kinds of bills piling up, and I had to make it work. And so part of, I think, my drive came from wanting to be with her, wanting to provide for us, and wanting to do it in a way that we weren't always struggling. So shortly after that, so I started thinking about how I could help other people with their businesses as well. And that's when the VA connection came into being a couple of years ago, and has been growing like crazy ever since. So let's jump to the next slide. And I want to start with talking about what a virtual assistant is, because I think a lot of times people are kind of confused by that. They think it's a very narrow opportunity, when really it's very, very broad. So let's just talk about what the definition is. So a VA provides administrative, technical, or creative services for their clients. And usually they're working from home. I always worked from home, but a lot of people like to work at, places like Starbucks, the library. And the key here is instead of working for one person, you work for a number of clients. And I like this for so many reasons. One of the reasons I like it is because it takes away what I call the single point of failure. If you have a job and your boss decides they don't want you anymore, or they can't afford you, and they fire you, or lay you off, or whatever happens, so many crazy things that happened in the last number of months. But what's happened with my business is there was not one single point of failure. So even though some of my clients stopped needing me as much, new clients came on, and my work has never been busier. It's never been busier, and I've never, I have lots and lots of clients. But what I don't have is that single point of failure. So think about that. There's a flip side, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, which is risk. But you really can offer the things that you like, leaving out the things you don't like, to a wide variety of clients. For example, I don't write for my clients. It's not a comfort place. I do my own writing for my own business, but not for my clients. I don't write social media posts. I'm not very good at it. It stresses me out. And so I don't do it. I write my own, but that's different for me. So I can execute on social media, though. I can take their content and put it into the different tools, but I really do get to decide what I want to do. And we're gonna dive into this more, because I know a lot of people want to know, what does it take to get started? We're going to talk about that. So how I started thinking about this talk is I came up with 7 questions that I think a lot of people are asking, and I'm going to start by diving into each one of these. And then what we're going to do is, and at any point, please jump in with questions in comments, and I'll be happy to answer you. So, are you ready to work on your own? What do you need to get started? Where do you get clients? How much money can I earn? What training is required? Can you work part-time? And who hires VAs? Okay, so again, any other questions you have, we're just going to pop them right up here on the screen. Now, I want to just put in this commercial really quickly, and I'm going to talk more about it at the end. All of the things that we're going to talk about today are available in my 12-week program. This is where you can find it. It's called the Launchpad, and that's exactly what it is. It launches virtual assistants into the working world of being a VA, and so just keep that in mind if you're interested in that. It's starting on September 17th, so just next week we're going to get started. But in the meantime, all right, so let's talk about working on your own. One of the key components of my success is that I've always thought of myself as a business owner. I set my business up as a business, even though the majority of the time it's just been me. There have been times when I've had other people help me with my work, but for the most part, it's really me. However, by thinking of it as a business, it helped me to make some decisions. It helped me to make some decisions about pricing and how negotiable my prices were, what kinds of people that I worked with. It also had me set up a business bank account and register with the state, created my website, all of the things that businesses need. And I do believe that it's helped me with my clients because they see me as serious. They see me as someone who's professional and has done all the things for my business that I help them with. So you'll hear me, if you're around me more than 5 minutes, you'll hear me talk about how to put your business on display. So by doing all these different things on my own business, the website and the email newsletter and all of those things, they were able to see it for themselves and ask me to do it for them. Okay. So I'm just looking in the comments here. So someone said, Daniela, hi Daniela. She says, I'm not afraid to get a client. I'm afraid, not sure what to offer. Okay, stand by. We are totally going to talk about that. Thank you for that question. Okay. You need to be self-guided. So the thing about having your own business is that there's no one watching the clock. There's no one saying, oh, she's late. It's just work is getting done or it's not. And in the beginning, you really need to be self-guided because you'll have more time than work, but you'll have things to do, like set up your website, set up your email, all of those things. So you really do need to be self-guided and someone who, is able to set parameters for their success. So for me, for example, I get up in the morning, take care of my chickens and let them out and feed them. And then I'm checking my email to see if anybody's on fire. What I mean by that, something's down, something's, needs attention right away. And my day has been prioritized the night before. I look at what I have to do, and then I just get right into the work right away. I take a break for breakfast because I like to eat a little bit later, and then I'm back at my desk again. So it's important, even if you want to work part-time, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, to have a routine, just like when you had a workplace to go to, because otherwise I think it's easy to get caught up with the Today Show, or look up at the clock and realize, oh wow, it's 10 o'clock, I better get going. And it's hard to be successful if that's the way, if you're not managing it like a business. So I just want to stress that. And then the other thing is risk. There's a flip side to that single point of failure, meaning, I can get fired, of course, as a virtual assistant. I can also fire clients, but because I have, 45 or 46 clients right now, there's really no way they're ever going to all get together and decide, yep, we're not working with Belinda anymore. So one or two can go away, and they do every month. Probably, one goes away because we're finished with their work. They're not going to, they're retiring, whatever the reason is. So there's no risk of, losing your whole business, but you do have to take the risk of starting your business. So that's absolutely something to keep in mind. And everybody is not cut out for it. Some people want to know that they're going to have X number of dollars on the 1st and the 15th. It doesn't work that way at all when you're a virtual assistant most of the time. There'll be weeks where it's very quiet. And there'll be other weeks where, it just feels like money is pouring in. So you'll have to be good at managing your money as well, and know that just because someone paid you a bunch of money one week, it might not happen the second week. And so you have to be able to plan. That's great. So one of the Facebook users here, if I'm on StreamYard, and if you want your name to show up, you just have to click the link that's in the summary of this post, and then your name will show up. Well, congratulations. It's a good risk to take. I'm really happy that I did. All right. Okay, so what do you need to get started? You need a lot less than you think. It's going to surprise you so much. Mostly what you need to do is just get started. So you do need a dedicated workspace. It does not have to be a room. If you can have a space with a door, that's good, especially if you live with other people, or they're doing homeschooling, or not homeschooling, remote school, or you have a spouse, a partner, a boyfriend who's working from home as well. But even if you don't have a door, I have a door for the first time. I got a door on my office in March. Actually, I moved into our second bedroom, and but for the first 9.5 years that I was a VA, I didn't have a door. But I did. I had a nook in the dining room. I had part of our, there's like a separate wall, the closets separate the bedroom in the room that we have now. And my desk was on the other side of that. So even though I was in the bedroom, the bed was separate, which was nice. But you do need a table, and all of my desks have been IKEA dining room tables. I have an IKEA standing table now that I got for Christmas this year, which is really nice. But it's it's about five feet, wide, and everything fits right here. You want to have, you want to have all the supplies that you need all together at your fingertips. I refer to this as my money-making cockpit because, Rocket Girl, and my business is called Rocket Girl Solutions. And it really is. This is how I provide my part for my family at this desk right here. So a dedicated workspace so that when someone comes home from college, or you have a guest, or, whatever, you don't get disrupted. The second thing you need to get started is you need to be able to articulate what you do. You need to be able to talk about your work in a way that people understand. So what I say is I'm a virtual assistant. I work for solo professionals. I help them with all of the back end pieces of their business, like PowerPoint presentations, website updates, and email newsletters. And we talk a lot about getting this just to the point, because what happens, especially when we're new and people say, what do you do for work? We just talk. So everybody, and the person leaves confused. They have no idea what you're talking about. A lot of people don't know what a VA is. So the clearer you can get, the better. And there's a lot of reasons. One of them is because people who understand what you do will tell other people what you do. When someone says, oh, I need someone to help me with a PowerPoint presentation, they'll say, oh, call Belinda. I know that she does that. So even though I can do, my services page is very long and complete, that's not what I tell people when I first meet them. So we work on this a lot in the course. In fact, we practice it every day, and people love it. It's fabulous. Okay. You want to also be really clear about your pricing, because if you think about it, you want to remove all the barriers that get in the way of getting hired. So if someone asks you how much do you think it will cost, and you're sort of hemming and hawing and doing all the things that a lot of new people do, it's going to make it look like maybe you're not in business for real. For the same reason, I don't ever offer discounts on my work. But anyway, we spend a lot of time getting clear about how much you're going to charge, and we talk a lot about how to talk about it. So when someone asks me, what about your pricing? Or, a lot of times clients will be nervous about it. They'll be nervous to ask you because they feel like they're putting you on the spot, or maybe they don't like to talk about money, because not everybody does, that's for sure. So what I say in that case is it's really simple. And I do have a really simple way that I charge. I have something called the Rocket Girl debit card, and I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit. But what I say is people prepay my time in 5 or 10 hour chunks. You can use it over the course of a year. I have some clients that buy a debit card every couple of weeks, and some that buy, one a couple times a year. And I tell them that my hourly rate, and it's just very transparent, and they can ask any questions, but I take all of the emotion out of it, because that's where we get in trouble. Okay, so Anastasia, hi Anastasia, is asking, do you feel it's better for pricing hourly or packaging? For me, definitely hourly. And I'm going to talk about it more later, but I'm going to just jump in a little right now. So the reason that hourly has always been better for me is because people just keep giving me more stuff. So let's say we have a project and I'm going to do an email newsletter, but they want me to fix some other thing. Let's say they're having trouble with their email. If we're doing flat rate, what they're thinking is, oh, well, Belinda doesn't do that, or this is not part of the project. And so then I have to come up with how much am I going to charge them for that little extra thing. Now, maybe Anastasia, what you're talking about is packages like you get X number of hours per month for this much, and you either use the time or not, and you just keep paying. I tried that with my clients, and they didn't like it. And I know why they didn't like it, because the same thing happened to me. I hired someone to help me as a VA a few years ago. I thought I wanted to grow an agency, and turns out that at that time I didn't care for it. So I scaled it all back. But she had a package, 10 hours. It was $40 an hour. So I paid her $400. The first month I was raring to go, so I gave her a bunch of stuff. The second month I was busy, and I had enough to give her, but I couldn't find the time. I didn't take the time to give it to her. So that month I thought, okay, this is on me, no problem. But then the third month it happened again, and I thought, I'm throwing money away. I'm not going to do that. So I stopped, and I stopped working with her, not because she was doing a bad job, but because it was putting pressure on me to use those hours, and I felt like I was blowing dollar bills into the wind. So by doing it this way, where people can just pay for what they use, it enables me to have many more clients, so farther away from that single point of failure, and I get paid for every single minute that I work. So that's why I like that. I hope that's helpful. If you want to post a follow-up question, please do. Okay, so great question. Okay, where do I get clients? Now, I know that a lot of people think that getting clients is hard, and it takes effort, but none of the effort is difficult. So clients are literally everywhere. When you're a virtual assistant, I don't know too many people who don't want to have a virtual assistant. Virtual assistants are amazing. They take so many things off your plate. They free you up to work on where the value is for you. They take things that, you guys know this, right? I'm singing to the choir. They take away repetitive tasks that I just don't need to be good at anymore. And so it's very rare that I tell somebody in a very articulate, succinct way what I do with only 3 examples that they don't say, oh, wow. And usually they say, oh, wow, either I need that or so-and-so needs that, or can you do this other thing? And it happens every time. So I'm going to show you an example. I wasn't planning on this, but so here's my laptop. And when I go speak, I have my laptop and it's open in front of me like this, right? And you'll see this sticker right here. It says Kajabi Hero right here. Kajabi is the platform that I use for the VA connection, and they sent me this sticker, and I wanted to be more like my daughter, so I put all these cool stickers on my laptop. And I've had people walk up to me seeing my laptop and say, hey, do you know Kajabi? I need someone who uses Kajabi. I never even heard of Kajabi a year ago. I have 5 or 6 clients now. I just moved them onto the Kajabi platform yesterday. So the more that you put it out there and you talk about it in a clear way, you're going to get clients. It's not difficult. I have something called the sprinkling method. The sprinkling method we talk a lot about in the course. It's also a lot of this information is in the Facebook group as well. Sprinkling is my method for telling everybody that I know about what I'm up to, but not in a salesy way. I've never sold. I've never asked for referrals. My business is based on referrals, but I've never asked for a referral. I just do good work. I'm clear about my pricing. I'm clear about how I talk about it. And I stay in touch with the people that I know over and over and over. I keep in touch with people through my email newsletter. I keep in touch with them in emails. I keep in touch with them by having virtual coffees, going to networking events, and it's something we talk a lot about in the course, the sprinkling method. So there's a video on that in the Facebook group, the VA Connection. Look over in units under Getting Great Clients, and you'll see a video called Sprinkling. So more about that, but that's how that works. Just stay in touch with people. Okay, so let's talk about how much money can you make. So the first year I was a virtual assistant, I made right around $70,000, and after that, I crossed over to $100,000, and I've consistently earned over $100,000 for the last 9 years. Now, a lot of people are going to be surprised by this. The answer is your skills, but even a bigger question is how much confidence do you have? Now, I didn't have a lot of confidence when I started out. I knew constant contact. I knew how to figure stuff out. I'm always been someone that figures things out. I knew a little HTML. I knew Microsoft Office, but I didn't know all the stuff I knew now. I didn't know MailChimp. I didn't know how to set up Stripe and Square, and I didn't know WordPress. I didn't even know what WordPress was before I started. So it's not really about knowing all the skills. It's about being willing to figure things out as you go. But confidence when it comes to pricing is the confidence in picking the number, right? The confidence in learning how to talk about it. The confidence in knowing that you don't have to back down. The confidence in not negotiating with people. So I told you I sell my time in 5 and 10 hour chunks. From time to time, someone will say to me, I only need 2 hours. And I I say to them, I understand that. I want to be careful of my tone because I'm always respectful. What I say is, that's awesome. But I only sell it in 5 or 10 hour chunks. So there's probably other stuff we want to do if you'd like to get started with 5 hours. And I remind them it's good for a year. But I don't then change my whole pricing model and say, oh, well, everybody wants 2 hours. I don't do that. I don't want to work with someone who doesn't want at least 5 hours of my time. By the time I get into it, we're getting out of it. And it frankly, it puts too much pressure on me, and it puts too much pressure on the client, because 120 minutes is not a ton of time, even for a small project. So I'm really looking for people who want something longer term. Some come in with one project, and we might not use all the time. But my point here really is, just decide on how it's going to be, decide on your price. Don't be afraid to let people go, because others will come. All right. So let me tell you a little bit about what I did. I started out at $50 an hour. And what I did was I started out at $50 an hour, and I got probably 5 or 6 clients. So to me, that proved my point that I could bring people on at that rate. Once I did that, I raised my rate to $60 an hour. I raised it to $60 an hour, and then I was able to bring on a few more clients. Now, what happened that's so interesting is that every time I raised my rate, I was sure no one else was going to buy my time. Like, I was sure. I just would think, okay, that's it. But what I did was I practiced talking about it. I would have these earbuds on, and I would go for a walk every day for about 4 miles a day. I'm tall. I walk pretty fast. And I would put the earbuds in, and I would have my phone, and it looked like I was talking on the phone. And what I was doing was practicing saying what I did for work, and I was also practicing my rates. And every time I raised my rate, I had to practice, because you know how when people are uncomfortable, they see like your eye sort of twitches, or you look away for a second. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be able to say as clear as day, the sky is blue, I'm eating spaghetti, my hourly rate is this. So there was no question. And you know, a lot of people have asked me, someone asked me recently, they said, do you get much pushback? And I said, no, I don't actually. And I think it's because you can hear how confident I am in how I'm saying how much I charge. I didn't just wake up like that. I practiced it, and I sweated through it until I got confident. And now I am. All right, so we have some questions. So let's just jump in and answer them, and then we'll get back to my story. Okay, so Anastasia, did you have an email list as a VA and send out newsletter to potential clients? Yes. So how I got started was I sent out an announcement to everyone that I know. And when I say no, I mean actually no. And it was, you know, like my old bosses and friends and my cousins and people that I knew. And then 2 weeks after I sent out that announcement, I started sending a newsletter out. And I was being pretty aggressive because I needed to start making money right away. There was no like ramp up time for me. I just had to hit the ground, or I had to go get a job. So I send out a newsletter every 2 weeks. When you're getting started, I think every 3 weeks or every month is fine. And that's what I started to do. So you're bringing this up, and I'm just trying to look in my brain for a second. So also in the course, I did not mention this. I'll talk about it more. The VA Launchpad. I have 2 courses. One is called the debit card course, which talks about specifically how to set up the system, how to set up Stripe, how to set up a one-page website. It talks about WordPress. It talks about MailChimp. It's very robust. Lots of people have taken the course. That's included with the Launchpad. And then the other thing that's included that you reminded me of is there's an email newsletter course. It's called the Done For You email newsletter system. That's included as well. There are 2 bonuses that are included. And the reason that I included them in the course is that it's so critical that you be able to do those things, that I thought, I'm teaching it, but if you can have those courses, you know, forever, you can refer to them. The other thing it does is it gives you 2 skills. Well, actually more than that, right out of the gate, because you'll learn MailChimp, you'll learn how to create your own newsletter. Clients will see it. They'll want you to do it for them. It gives you the template that you just click, and it, you know, downloads right into your account. And then because people struggle with the content in that newsletter course, there are 12 newsletters that I've written that are appropriate for clients, that are professionally edited, that you can use to send to your list. You can put it on social media. You can do whatever you want with it. You can also change it if it doesn't resonate with you and you want to just use it as a basis for your newsletter. You can do that as well. So yes, absolutely. That is. I have a whole webinar called "Why My Email Newsletter Is My Secret Weapon," and that's why. The other thing is it's recurring work. So I probably have 25 clients that I do their email newsletters for them. I do them every single month. So that burns through that time that they have on their debit cards. All right. Well, here's another question. Kenny, do you take courses to start and learn the unknown software? That's a good question. Gosh, so I do. I do take courses. However, I take them as I need them. So I knew Constant Contact because I started my newsletter and I knew I wanted to use Constant Contact. A client came and said, can you, I want to do a newsletter. It's in MailChimp. And I said, okay. So I didn't take a course because what happens is if you know how to use one CRM, it's kind of an overstatement to say you know how to use all of them, but they have, profiles and reports and, same thing with a lot of the software. So, there might be called an audience in MailChimp and it's a contact list and Constant Contact, but it kind of maps. So what I would do is learn the tools I needed for my business, showcase them to potential clients and friends and family, and then they would hire me to do those same things. But I do take courses from time to time, but I like to learn in the moment more. It sort of gets inside me in my memory more when I'm actually solving a problem. And how I handle that is while I was figuring out how MailChimp and Constant Contact were similar, I didn't charge the client for my time because that was my learning time. And because I told her I would do it. And then as soon as I understood how it worked and I was doing the work, I start charging her for my time then. All right. But courses are great for the software too. My elevator, sure. So what I say is, I usually say the name of my business. You don't have to do that. Mine is Rocket Girl Solutions, and people, they like that. They think it's fun. So I start with that. I say, hi, they'll say, what do you do? I say, well, I am a business owner. It's called Rocket Girl Solutions. I'm a virtual assistant. I work with solo professionals, people who work on their own. And I act as, I help them with all the back end things, pieces of their business. Sorry, I'm a little nervous saying it in front of you guys for some reason. That's funny. Website updates, PowerPoint presentations, and email newsletters. And so what I do is I keep it really simple. There's also a blog post on the vaconnection.com that talks about that. Let me think about what you would put in the search. I'll come back to that for sure. Okay, and then I have them pay in advance? Yes, all of my time is prepaid. People buy my time in either 5 or 10 hour chunks. They pay with credit card each week, and this is all in that debit card course. Each week I send them an email that tells them how much time they have left. There's a link to buy more time, and it's very self-serve. So yesterday was Monday. I sent out an email to my 45 or 6 clients. 3 of them clicked the link and replenished their debit card. So that's how that works. When their debit card runs out, I stop the work. If it's a client I've been with for a really long time and they say, hey, I know I'm out of time, but I can't get to it today, no problem. I keep working. If it's a new client and I don't know if they're going to reload their debit card, I literally take my hands off the keyboard and I'll shoot them an email if they haven't noticed. I'll just say, hey, I'd love to keep going on your project. Can you just reload your debit card? And you'll notice what happens is we're not talking about money. I'm not saying, can you pay the invoice? I'm saying your debit card. So it makes it like this third entity. It's not you, me, it's that thing over there. And it's worked out well. I've done it for 9 years. It's worked out really well. Okay, so can you give some examples of things, of the things for businesses? So some of the work that I do, I think you want. Yeah, absolutely. So today, what have I done? I helped someone set up a Kajabi website. They want a sales page. So I helped them set that up. I had a conversation with them. I posted some social media for a client. I posted a newsletter on someone's website, and then I put it on LinkedIn. Someone called me on the phone about half an hour ago, and she has a presentation next Tuesday. She wants me to take her PowerPoint and make it look great. When we get off, I have 2 email newsletters that are going out this week. I'm going to put the content that the client sent me into the 2 different platforms. One of them is called Investorly, which is very obscure. Never heard of it. Difficult to use platform. It's not hard. It's just clunky. The other one's in MailChimp. And let's see, what other kinds of things am I working on? That's what I've been doing today so far. updating websites. I have one client that's updating her website. I set up credit card processing. I have a lot of clients who are coaches, and they're always changing their prices and offering new packages. So I set that up for them. So it's really kind of all over the map. I've planned events for people. I've helped people. I have one client who I help her with Zoom meetings. She goes into big organizations, big companies, and she wants me to be kind of her wingman so that she can be really on camera with, on Zoom with the participants. It's like 6 people with her, and she's really watching them. And what I'm doing is I'm taking notes, and I'm playing videos that the people made before before we're all coming together. So all different kinds of things. You really can start wherever you are, as long as you're willing to figure stuff out as you go. Okay. How do you organize your days with different clients? That's a really good question. So there's different kinds of days. There's days, which I don't love these particular days, where there's lots of things that take 15 minutes. And because it's just, it's kind of intense, So what I try to do is I block time on my calendar. So my Google Calendar is like, my Bible, I guess. And I have on there all of the meetings that I have to show up at, so like this is on my calendar because it was requiring me. And I have my client meetings. So I can see where I have free time. Then, or I shouldn't say free time, time to do the work. And then as requests come in, I put them on my calendar and I move them around. So I'll, like tonight, before I close up, I'll look at all the things that I need to do. I'll put them on my calendar on the days I'm going to do them. They don't really represent the amount of time. It's just a reminder. You can do this in project management software as well. I used to do that. You'll find over time the way that you track things and your systems will change as your work changes. It used to be that I was in meetings all day long, like probably 5 years ago, all day. And then I was just jamming to try to get the work done, because every time I was in a meeting, I would get like 2 or 3 or 4 hours of work to do. So now that's not the case anymore. I only have 3 or 4 standing meetings. And so I'm able to, put things on my calendar, move them around, and prioritize. I do all of one client's work at one time. So after this, when unless there's many pressing deadlines, and then I move according to the deadline. But when we are finished here today, I'm going to work on my client, Bob. He's got 3 or 4 things. I'm going to wrap it all up, send everything to him, and then I'll be done, and I'll put my time in Toggle. I track my time using Toggle. But I do keep, I try to do one at a time when at all possible. What is the system you use for the debit card? Well, it's multiple things. So the core of the debit card is that people prepay my time. So you can do that with PayPal. You can do that with, a check. You can do that any way you want. The systems that I use are MailChimp, Stripe, Gravity Forms, and MailChimp, WordPress. Those are the systems that I use to set the whole debit card system up. And how often do you have meetings with clients? I never have meetings with them in person. In fact, sometimes it's interesting, and I'm not sure that's what you're asking, but I'll answer virtually as well. So I would meet someone, at a networking event, and they would say, well, where are we going to meet? And I would, because they misunderstood the whole virtual thing. And I'd say, oh, we're just going to do it on the computer. Now, 10 years ago, when I started doing that, people got confused. They were concerned. They didn't really understand the whole concept. But back then, I don't think Zoom was invented back then. It might have been, but I used join.me. So I would just, sort of calm them down and say, oh, it's going to be great. We're going to, we'll meet an email. We can get on the phone anytime. I'll show you my screen. You can show me yours. It's really simple. So at that time, join.me was the easiest platform I could find and caused the least amount of trouble for clients signing in. And then when I found out about Zoom, which was several years ago, I switched over because it's been even easier. So some clients have standing meetings. My client Diane, I meet with her every Monday at noon. We talk for about an hour. Nick, I talk to him on Fridays for about 30 minutes. They just want to check in and talk about, the next steps for their project. And then sometimes I leave with, work, and sometimes they just want to talk about it. So that it really varies. Okay, so let's get back to my story here. So essentially, I think I wrapped it up. So I raised my rates on my new clients. I left my old clients at the old rate, and I kept doing that. And then I raised everybody up to one number. In the beginning, people could only buy 10 hours of my time. As my rates went up, I changed that to 5 and 10 so that the initial, they could kind of not really test me out, but get their feet wet. And someone's asking, do I charge them for the time during the meeting? Absolutely, every minute. And for the calls, you bet. Yeah, I definitely charge them, because the way I think about it is, I do have a training program, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. Thanks for that question. Anytime, if I have an idea in the shower, I don't charge them for my time. And a lot of times really good ideas have come to me, when I'm not working. But the second I start working on it, or I am talking to them, if a client gets me on the phone and they want to make small talk for an hour, that's fine, but I charge them. And they know that. Sometimes clients don't realize that right away, and they'll, but then I gently tell them, because when I'm not working on their work, if they're taking my time, I can't be billable somewhere else. And my whole goal is to be as billable as possible during the hours I want to work. So yes, they definitely do. And so to answer your question, yes, I do. I have a training program. It's called the Launchpad. It's launching on September 17th. I'm gonna just I can't post here. Oh wait, I have an idea. Right here. Sorry, I wasn't completely prepared for this. But if you go to this URL, thevaconnection.com /launchpad, you'll see all the information there. It comes with, it's a 12-week course. I teach it. It's limited to 8 people. I walk you through practically holding your hand, how to get clients, how to price, how to do each step along the way. You have email access to me. You have time with just the two of us. We have 2 one-on-one calls to talk about, what you specifically need. You have lifetime access to the recordings. And I talk about the business of running a VA business. And I also talk about, what you need your website to say, and, we spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and all of the different things that you need to know to grow a successful business, whether it's 6 figures, if that's your goal, like it was mine, or part-time. You can absolutely learn how to do that in this course. The people who have taken this course, and there have been many, and they applied themselves, they have businesses when we're done. They have clients, they know how to talk about it, they know how much to charge, and they have a heck of a lot more confidence than they did when they came in, which is great. Okay, so let's go back to comments, and I think when you have to call X organization for a customer, so I think that is included in your hour project. Yes, so let's say I have to call GoDaddy because their website's down. I charge them. Now I am generous, because in that example so one time I needed to call GoDaddy because there was a problem with my client's email. Now I didn't just sit there the whole time on hold charging them, because I charge a lot per hour, and I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. So what I did was I am on hold, and I'm working on other stuff for him. The second the person says, "How can I help you?" I'm on the clock. Well, I was on the clock doing other stuff, but I charge for that time as well. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then the other thing is, if I can't do other work for them and I'm on hold, then I'll do another client's work. But you can hold without music sometimes, so it makes it easier. But just try to be fair. That's the main thing. But yes, absolutely. Yes. Okay. So let's see. So I raised my prices over time. Then I raised everybody up. When you raise your prices, we talk a lot about this in the course too. You're going to want to do it gently and with a lot of thought, and not just flinging an email, out, because you'll lose people. And there's a certain order you should do it and a certain way to do it. Also, I'll mention in the class is included all the language you need to do your announcement. I help pick your services. All the spreadsheets that I use to run my businesses, all of those things, the wording for how to raise your rates on clients, it all is included in the course. We have a Trello board, and all that stuff goes there, and you have, again, lifetime access to it. Okay. So any more questions about pricing before I move on to the next thing? You can still ask pricing questions, but I just thought I'd pause for 1 second. The other thing is you really can decide how much you're going to earn. And the cool part is you can set a financial goal for yourself. And, with the job, you have to wait until someone decides it's time for a raise, or you have to ask for one. The other thing is we talk a lot about is that there's some math involved. If you want to make $100,000 or $50,000, you have to figure out how many hours you're going to work every week and how much you're going to earn during those hours, and make sure that you're billing that much time. We talk a lot about that because that's something that surprises people on how to figure out how much they're going to make. And I have a spreadsheet that calculates it. It's pretty cool. All right, training. We talked about that a little bit. So the first thing is I have this thing. It's called the Ultimate Virtual Assistant Money Making Task List, because I think that we all have so many skills already that we think we haven't been a VA, but to be a VA, you decide you're going to be one. Like I said, you get clear on talking about it, your pricing, et cetera. And then you're a VA, and you do these things to get clients, and you're working. You don't ever have to talk about, oh, I just started. It's sort of like saying I'm just starting being a human, because you have all this experience. So you're starting where you are, and then you just keep going. So go to thevaconnection.com. Up at the top, you'll see there's a blue banner, and you can download that money making task list. It's 12 pages, and it gives you a list of a bajillion things you can do right now. So definitely take a look at that. And then again, I talked about this a little before, but by treating my business as a business and learning the skills I needed to run my business, like my email newsletter, like taking credit cards, setting up MailChimp, all PowerPoint presentations, all of those things, by learning those for my own business and being clear about how it all works, those are the things that my clients ask me to do. And it's no accident. As soon as I learned Kajabi for my business, for the VA connection, we use Kajabi for the VA connection. I have 5 clients now. And like I said, it's almost like the universe sends waves out or something, or I start to talk about it. Yeah, I did this thing with Kajabi. It was really fun. And they say, oh, it's Kajabi. And then, or I can recommend it. So for this client that I moved her into Kajabi yesterday, she said, I want to do a sales page. And I said, okay, let me show you mine. That's exactly what I said. And she said, how'd you do that? And I said, Kajabi. And then I sent her my affiliate link. So if she decides to go, and I told her it was my affiliate link. So if she decides to go forward, I'll definitely get paid for that. So someone says, great information. I need to take another Zoom call. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to just put in here really quick. If someone has questions about the course, I'm going to put in my my phone number. So this is my cell phone. So text me, just grab that number real quick. We're going to keep going on with the presentation, but if you're leaving and you want to talk about the course, just shoot me a text. We'll set up a time to talk, because I want to, make sure you get your questions answered. Okay, so let's see. Running a business. Let's move on, unless someone has questions about that. Okay, looks like I'm having a little problem with my, hold on, let me get back to this banner. I'm just going to take it off now. Okay, so can I work part-time? Yes. So here's the deal with that. These are out of order, so let me just go ahead and click them. Okay, so you have to think about the kind of work. if you want to work part-time. I have one client who I do his scheduling. That is not part-time. When an email comes in from his client, he wants me on it. So I have 3 screens in front of me. One of those screens is dedicated to him. A sound is made when an email comes in, and when I am moving between clients, I just look up and glance and see, is this something I need to do right now? Because he's buying 10 hours of my time about every week and a half. So he is a priority. Not that everyone's not, but everybody doesn't have the same intense need for my attention. So if you're working part-time, he would not be a good client for you. That would be a disaster. However, email newsletters, someone will send me their newsletter on Monday and say, can you do it on Wednesday? Sure. I have plenty of time to get it done and manage my schedule, right? So you have to set expectations about turnaround times, and also you're going to need to keep a consistent schedule. So what I mean by that is people need to know what to expect. Does that mean my schedule doesn't change? No, not at all. In fact, I'm taking Friday off because we're going to drive my daughter to college, but most of the time I'm here. Now, even though I have a ton of clients, all of them are not going to need me that day. And I can predict pretty much who's going to need me that day. So I'll shoot them an email and let them know and set the expectation that I'll be checking my email in the morning, and then I'll check it at this time, or I'm not available because on Friday, I'm not available. So those are the keys to success if you want to work part-time. A lot of people do it very, very successfully. In fact, some of the people that have taken the Launchpad course have jobs, and they're getting themselves ready for when they're going to take the leap. So they work part-time. They do work at night or on the weekends to do that. All right, I just want to see if we have any new comments. Okay, great. So who hires virtual assistants? The answer really, and we talked about that a little bit, is anyone who knows what they do, right? Anyone that understands what we do. Everybody needs one of us. I mean, holy cow. So that's the good news, right? And then more specifically, small business owners, authors, financial planners. Financial planners are wonderful clients. I have like 5 of them. They plan. So they're always like sending me stuff way ahead of time, plenty of time to do it. Coaches are also really good clients because they have a lot of activity. I help them set up Acuity or Calendly so that their clients can book time with them. I help them with credit card processing. Consultants are great. I have clients that are nutritionists, real estate agents, and me. I've hired virtual assistants myself. I'm working with a virtual assistant right now to help me understand Instagram. So yeah, absolutely. All right, so these are the questions that I put up. So I'm going to leave them up for a second to see if you have any questions specifically about any of this. And you can just put them in the comments. And then I just want to take a minute to tell you about this class that I'm offering. Okay, so it launches on September 17th. It's 12 weeks. And the first thing we do is we get in place the things you need to have in place to have a business, right? So there's things that tell people you're a business for real. And I go into very specific details about what you need, the tools you need, and how to get started with your business. We also talk about pricing, like I said, in detail. For hours, we talk about pricing so that you will be able to clearly talk to your potential clients about it. And then getting clients. My approach, I call it sprinkling, very detailed description of how to do that. We talk about it. I give you a spreadsheet for tracking it. And so you can watch your success as your business starts to grow. All right, so I'm going to make myself smaller because I just want to make sure you can read this. So this is all this information is found here on this page. So what happens is we've got 12 sessions. For 10 of those sessions, I bring the presentation, I talk, it's very interactive like this, except we're all on Zoom and we get to know each other. Everyone becomes friends and they help each other out. It's actually a lot of fun. And I bring the topic, whether it's getting clients or pricing or getting started, and we talk about it until we're done talking. Usually it's about an hour. Some of my classes have lasted a little longer, and that's totally fine with me. And then for 2 weeks, the people in the course decide what they want the topic to be. So one time, this last time, they wanted to know about websites. Everybody brought their website. I critiqued them for them. We helped them out with that. Other times people have wanted to know about MailChimp or different tools. Zapier we talked about one time. So that's how that works. Each person gets 2 one-on-one sessions with me, about 30 minutes. And again, we'll talk about anything. Sometimes people want to talk about their strategy. Other times they want me to teach them a program, and I'm happy to do that. There's a private page on my website where all the recordings go. And you have my lifetime access to that, so you can, watch them over and over and over. You also get the resources, that I have that I use to run my business. You have email access to me anytime, and you also get the 2 courses that I threw in as bonuses. One is the email. I don't think I have a slide about that. The email newsletter. I don't. The email newsletter course, the Done For You email newsletter system, which includes step-by-step instructions on how to start with your newsletter. You could do it over the weekend, and then you can, and that could be your first service that you offered. That was my first service that I offered. And then also the debit card course, which teaches you how to get paid up front every time. 0 bad debt, not chasing money, no invoices, no contracts, none of that stuff that can really trip us up. So that's what the course is. And for more information, like I said, you just go here, and let me put this up one more time, my phone number. If you are interested, we're getting started on the 17th. There's a couple spots left. It's always sold out. There's 6 people in the course right now that are ready to go, and I would love to have you. So text me. We'll get on Zoom. We'll talk. I talked to one person. I'm trying to remember what country she was in. We talked on WhatsApp. Oh, she was in Jamaica. We talked on WhatsApp, so that works as well. And any other comments you have or questions, just I'll keep an eye on this post, and I'll answer them for you. All right, everybody. I hope this was helpful and informative, and I'll see you in the group. Bye.